investigation, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind, in the darkness all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, Granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. With Granny's crime busters ride, no victims left to pay. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, we are going to discuss Donna Adelson in the Dan Markel trial. I like to call this the case that keeps on giving. So let me look here. I missed something. So this is Dan Markel and his two little boys at the time of his red rum. Dan was born on October 9, 1972. He was a Canadian-born attorney and a law professor. He wrote various works on retribution in criminal law and sentencing, with a focus on the role of punishment in the criminal justice system. He earned a JD degree from Harvard in 2001, and after working as a law clerk to a federal judge and as an associate at a law firm, he joined the faculty of Florida State University in 2005. And that's where he was working at the time of his demise. He was red rummed in Tallahassee, Florida in 2014 in a red rum for hire motivated by child custody issues following his divorce from Wendy Adelson. Wendy was a clinical law professor and child advocate, and she was also employed at the Florida State University at that time. 4 individuals have been convicted in the case, the first one being Wendy's brother, so Dan's brother-in-law. His name is Charlie Adelson. He was convicted of first-degree red rum, conspiracy to commit red rum, and solicitation of red rum, and sentenced to life in prison, plus an additional 30 years each for the conspiracy and solicitation convictions. Then we have Sigfredo Garcia on the far right. He was found guilty of first-degree red rum, conspiracy to commit red rum, and sentenced to life in prison. He was the one that actually pulled the trigger that contributed to Dan's demise. In the middle, we have Catherine McManawa. She was found guilty of first-degree red rum, conspiracy to commit red rum, and solicitation of red rum in a retrial. She had originally been in a trial with Sigfredo Garcia, but the jury, while finding Sigfredo guilty, it was a hung trial, so she had to have a retrial, but she was found guilty in her retrial. Guilty of first-degree red rum, conspiracy to commit red rum, solicitation of red rum, and sentenced to life in prison, plus 2 consecutive 30-year sentences. On the far left, we have Luis Rivera. I think that's how they say it. I always thought it was Louis. Pled guilty to second-degree red rum and was sentenced to 19 years in prison. Louis rode along with Dan, or Sigfredo, I'm sorry. he rode along with him in the car. And at first, Sigfredo wanted him to be the one to pull the trigger, but when Louis found out that Dan was a father of 2 little boys, and this was all over custody issues, he didn't want anything to do with it, allegedly, but he rode along. Whatever. And so he's the one that talked. He told everything that he knew. Okay. So, like I said, case that keeps on giving. Then we have Donna Adelson, who is Wendy's mom, Dan's former mother-in-law. She was arrested at the Miami International Airport on a warrant from Leon County, flying to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. She is charged with first-degree red rum, conspiracy to commit red rum, and solicitation of red rum. Her trial was originally scheduled to start September 17th, but it's been delayed, and it's expected to begin on June 9th of this year, 2025. Something of note, neither Dan Markel's ex-wife Wendy nor Wendy Adelson's father, Harvey Adelson, have been charged, but both have been named by prosecutors as conspirators in the death of Dan Markel. So, Wendy did get conditional immunity, right? I forget what they call that. Harvey, though, they haven't really gone after. I don't know if I'm sure that they interviewed him, but he was with Donna when she was arrested. I mean, it's obvious that he knew what was going on, right? I mean, obviously. So there have been some preliminary trials going on, right? And Donna did get up and testify. She says that she's not being treated properly. She wants to be out on bond. She's had, well, we're going to let her tell you. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to let her tell you what she's gone through in prison or in jail so far. Okay, so this is Donna Adelson. And this is what she has to say.
We're going to move off of that then. I do want to talk to you then about some physical issues that have taken place in the jail. The first one I want to talk about is an incident that took place in the shower, and we're going to do this one briefly. I'm sorry, how much time did you say we had, Judge?
30 more minutes.
Including argument?
Not including argument.
Okay. All right. So the first incident that took place in the shower, could you just briefly describe to the...
For those of you that don't know, on this picture, it shows the crime scene. This was Dan Markel's house. He had just pulled into his garage. His car was still running when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera pulled up behind him, pulled the trigger, and left again. So his car was still running. A neighbor found him. So he had just dropped his kids off at daycare. I just wanted to make that clear what that was.
To the judge, what happened there?
Yes, so I always, there's 7 shower heads, but I always take the same one because it's off in a corner, so I have a little bit more privacy than you'd have at the other ones. And so I would always shower there, and I was under the shower and I was washing my hair, and I was the only one in the shower. I always go in early morning because there's nobody there. Most of the girls sleep, so I take a shower and I have a little privacy. And so I was washing my hair, and all of a sudden I felt a hand go up my back, like from the top of my butt up my back. And I yelled, "Stop it!" And I turned, and this girl said, "You like it?" And I said, get out of here. And I started to scream, and she ran.
Okay. In the bathroom there, what was this, which pod was this in?
It's in the annex.
In the annex, okay. In the annex, are there guards positioned inside the area where you shower?
No,
Inside the area where you use the restroom?
no.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So I just wanted to say she seemed legitimately disturbed by what happened to her. You know, that cannot be an easy thing, right? Here, you know, she is considered innocent, right, guys, until she's found guilty in her trial in June. Because some of us I know are thinking, well, you know what happens in prison, you know what happens in jail, right? And a part of me feels bad for her, right? I'm glad that the guards don't stand over you when you're showering. That would be very uncomfortable, right? Or when you're in the bathroom. However, that gives demented people an opportunity to do something, right? So I don't know. It's a difficult thought, but we know that it happens, but to actually hear it happen is a little different, right? It's kind of disturbing. You know, yes, we know that prisoners lose their rights when they go to jail, right? And I'm not a big one for giving them comforts because I feel very strongly that when they are convicted and sent to prison, they should be without the normal comforts that we have. They shouldn't have tablets. I don't even think they should be allowed to watch TV, in my opinion. I don't think so. Those are things that, let them go outside for some fresh air every day. Yes, absolutely. If they don't need gyms, right? If they want to do jumping jacks and push-ups and walk the halls, walk in a circle, whatever they need to do to get their steps in, fine. But they don't need all this expensive gym equipment. I really just, I realize I'm on a rant here, but I just don't believe that they should have the extra amenities, right? That some people on the outside don't even have access to. Some people can't afford gyms to go to a gym. I mean, I wouldn't be able to afford to go to a gym. I live on Social Security. I wouldn't be able to afford to go to a gym. So why should prisoners have that ability, right? Off my rant. I just wanted to say that I do genuinely feel bad for her having experienced that. She's an older lady. Come on, leave her alone.
The next thing I want to talk about is what transpired in October of, thank you, October of 2024, where you had said previously you were attacked. What were you doing? Where were you at, first of all, when that took place?
In October. So I was in the bathroom. It's 10:30 at night. I went in to brush my teeth.
Okay.
There are three sink stations in the bathroom. Each one has 4 sinks, and I was at the center station with my back to the door, and I'm a righty, so I was holding my toothbrush with my right hand, and I was balancing myself with my left hand on the sink, just brushing my teeth. That's all I was doing.
And what happened?
And someone came up behind me and pulled my left hand away from the sink and twisted my arm and like jerked it behind my back, like reaching up toward my neck.
Okay.
And
Did it hurt?
yeah, it hurt.
Okay. What happened?
It hurt. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she's, in the same breath that she did that with my arm, she said, "You're going to buy me commissary." I said, "I'm going to what?" And she said, "Unless you want those pretty white teeth knocked out of your mouth, you're going to buy me commissary." So I said, okay. And then she named a package that she wanted, and she's out. She was gone. She was just that fast.
Okay. How bad would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the pain at the time that she did that to you?
Oh my God, it was a 10.
Okay.
I didn't know my arm could reach that far back.
Okay. And what did you do after she did that to you?
So kind of stood there for a minute, and then I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go back to my bunk. And I went back to my bunk and I got under the covers and I cried. I just stayed under my covers. I didn't come out.
Okay. During your entire time in the annex, did this particular inmate remain confined in that area with you?
She was in the annex the whole time.
Okay. And I know that you don't want to talk about who did this to you, because why? Why don't you want to disclose who it was?
Because one thing I've learned since I'm there is you don't, the word is snitch, you don't snitch, you don't tell on anyone because you'll be sorry you did. And I've seen that. And so I didn't even tell you for a while. I wasn't going to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want, she's a big woman, and I was afraid of her.
Okay. Approximately how tall would you say she is compared to you?
She's over 6 feet, she's over 200 pounds. She's
Okay.
a very large woman.
Okay. Were you afraid of her?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was.
She makes this woman sound like a giant. Very few women are 6 feet, as far as I know. I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to Google that. I agree. Maybe she was 5'10", big woman, right? I don't know, but 6 feet. And I'm not trying to make light of what she went through, but we all know this stuff does happen, right? Um, and the snitching part is probably pretty accurate as well. If you snitch, and I think Donna does talk about this, where yes, that person might be taken out of her pod or whatever unit that she's in, but there are her friends that are left there. So, right, it can be a problem, no matter what happens. And so I get that, but she is part of me, if she ends up in prison, it's going to be even worse than what she's experiencing right now. Um, should she have to go through this? No. But what's the answer, guys? Prisons, jails are for people who have done something wrong. Most of the time, they're not good people. She comes from a sheltered life. Her and her husband have money. She was able to pretty much do whatever she wanted. She went to a beauty shop. Whenever she had an ache or a pain, she went to the doctor, right? And now it's not quite that way anymore. And things are highly different, and she's struggling to cope with it all. She seems to be a very emotional type person, right? But I can't help but think, because it's going to be interesting to know all the stuff that comes out in the trial. But we do know that she signed the checks that went to Catherine McManawa. Catherine McManawa was the one who paid Sigfredo and Lewis, and she also received money herself. And she was paid by Charlie, who Donna wrote those checks out of. They owned a dental office. Donna wrote the checks. So Donna was like the matriarch of their family. She was the person who told everybody what was going to happen, what was, how things were going to go. She was the one that, like to control the family, you know. So now things are turned against her, and she's finding it very difficult, which anyone would, but she is an elderly lady going through this, and that's rough. Do I want things to change in the jails where they have guards in the shower stalls and the bathroom stalls? No. I mean, I put myself in that place. I wouldn't want guards watching me, but that's the next step. If, what does she want? Because that's the only next step. You want guards watching you 24/7? You want them watching you while you're washing yourself? While you're taking a dump in the toilet? I mean, I wouldn't. Sorry for being graphic, guys, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't want somebody watching me.
After that,
Okay. And you said that she demanded that you were going to start getting her weekly commissary. Did you do that?
yes.
Okay. Can I have just one moment, Judge?
Go ahead.
Okay. So you can see that, that was just an excerpt of what was happening to her. She had her shoulder was hurt from that twisting, right? She also has problems with her sciatica or something, and you have to fill out forms to get to see the doctor. I didn't realize all this. I found that very, very interesting, right? The other part that I wanted to talk about when she was on the stand was the fact that she actually told why they were leaving, and she tried to make it sound believable. Okay. So, I wanted to see what a lawyer thought about that particular statement that she made about why her and her husband decided to leave the country, and to see what this lawyer's thoughts were as to what she said. So we're going to go over to the lawyer. Guys, I'm going to have his link in the description below, and also to his channel. So I encourage you to please sub up. He's very knowledgeable, gives us a good overview. His channel is all about giving an overview of the legal process for these individual cases. And he does such a wonderful job. He makes it easy for us to understand. He talks about it in our language, right? And so if you have not subbed up to him, his name is Peter Tragos, and his channel is Lawyer You Know. So look in the description for this video, and you will find where to go for this video, because I'm not going to play the whole thing, and his channel. And I encourage you, please sub up to him. If you have any questions regarding any case that has gone to court or is going to court, you can go over there and see if he's covering that case, right? I will warn you, he has not, as far as I'm aware, covered the Sebastian Rogers case, but that is not a legal case as of right now. So if you're looking for him to say something about that, you probably will not see that until or unless it goes to court. And I don't know, yeah, it's up to him, right? And his community, what he covers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen here.
And you said that if you are given a bond, you will reside in Tallahassee, you will follow court orders. But when you were afraid.
So remember, Donna is asking for a bond. She wants to be let out, right? Because she cannot handle what's going on inside the jail. Okay.
Of being arrested, right? Charlie Adelson's trial. Isn't it true that you hoped that you could get to the airport before you were arrested?
I wasn't afraid of being arrested.
What were you trying to get to the airport in time for? In that jail
My
cell?
husband and I literally shocked. My husband and I literally shocked and traumatized at what had happened to Charlie. And he said, we need to just get some peace. We need to catch our breath. We're going to go away somewhere. And I thought it was a good idea because I couldn't think straight.
So that's her answer. Her husband and she decided to get away, find some peace because they couldn't, catch their breath and think straight. They were so traumatized about what happened to Charlie, who the state is alleging is a co-conspirator in this crime, getting convicted. That's her story. And now we're going to get into those little pesky details about what did you search, how did you land on Vietnam, and why only a one-way ticket?
I really couldn't think straight. I was so upset, and so was he. And it was his idea. He said, sweetheart, let's go, just get away. We're going to just get away somewhere so we can have some time to think.
Okay, so you're telling.
So I am going to say this. Remember, I told you that Harvey Adelson, her husband, Dan Markel's former father-in-law, has not been charged with any crime in this case. But she is saying it was his idea to get away. Why? And to a country that has no extradition treaty. Why? Is it enough to charge him with? Probably not. Does it resolve anything? Probably not. But I'm just saying he knew. He knew what was going on.
Testimony is that you weren't trying to go to Vietnam because you wouldn't be able to be extradited from there.
So my husband actually had said, we've been to Vietnam before with friends. We're on vacation, and it really was like a place of peace. And so he said, if we go to a non-extradition country, then if the law enforcement decided that they wanted to arrest you or me, whatever, both, he said, we won't be sitting in a foreign prison waiting months to go back. We could buy a ticket and we could go home. And my understanding was that I could go home and I could turn myself in if that's what they wanted.
So her husband said this. Her husband said, we go to a non-extradition treaty country. Then if they decide to arrest us, we don't sit in a foreign prison. We can just get a plane ticket and go home. He knew, guys.
So she picked a one-way ticket and she picked Vietnam so that she wouldn't be sitting in a foreign prison, and somebody would just let her know, hey, there's a warrant out for your arrest. They want to file charges against you or your husband or both. Could you please kindly buy a ticket, fly back home so we can throw you in jail and prosecute you? That's her explanation. So she admits they knew it might be coming. She admits They knew they might get arrested. She admits she was traumatized and scared since Charlie's trial and the resolution or ending of Charlie's trial and a guilty verdict. But they were just going to Vietnam because it was a very peaceful place that they have traveled to in the past with friends. And it just so happened to be a non-extradition country. And they just so happened to get a one-way ticket. Now, I don't like calling people liars. I do like to try and think, will a jury take this seriously? 6 to 12 people that are sitting in a jury box looking at a client. So what I tell my clients, they are not going to know you. I've got clients of all sorts. I've got pastors. I've got people who don't have jobs. I've got people that are CEOs. I've got teachers. I've got all sorts of people. And I say, they're not going to know who you are. So if you say things that are totally illogical and make no sense, let's think about that. And let's dig into how can we explain this? You're saying this is the truth. That's fine. How can we explain it with the other details that are objective that we know? And that's what I would tell Donna Adelson, because I don't think a reasonable juror who does not know who Donna Adelson is going to buy that. You guys let me know in the chat if you agree or disagree. Do you think that sounds plausible? Does her explanation make sense? Because
He brings up a really good point, guys. Does her explanation make sense? In my opinion, it does not. It does not make sense. If I was a juror sitting in that trial and I heard her say that, I'd be like, you bought a one-way ticket. You weren't planning on coming back. There's also, I guess, phone calls with Charlie in prison, which we know are recorded. And if she didn't, I don't know. It amazes me how stupid people can be sometimes, right? You're gonna call and talk to your son who is in prison, and it does say at the beginning that the calls are recorded, and you tell him that you're probably going to leave the country. Excuse me, you just gave law enforcement a heads up. I mean, come on. So, um, and I liked what Peter Tragos had to say, because it's not plausible, and he would suggest she does not say that. But now, because she stood on the stand and she said this, it can be used against her in her trial. So I don't know what her lawyer was thinking by allowing her to say this under oath on the stand. I don't know. Maybe she needs a new lawyer. I don't know. But she should not have said what she said just there. It did not do anything for her case. Guys, I'm really looking forward to the trial in June. We will watch it. I don't know if we probably won't watch it live. There's usually enough people that show it live, along with just Court TV or the other networks, including Recovery Addict and some others that I enjoy. So we probably will not watch it live, but we might talk about it at night on our lives, depending on what's going on, or else I'll just give a synopsis daily, right? But we will continue on with this and anything else that goes on with this case up until her trial. The case that keeps on giving, right? And we need to remember that a man lost his lives, right? His children were 3 and 4 when this happened, and this was 10 years ago now. Those boys are grown, and they lost out on a father. They lost an uncle to prison, a grandma who has been in jail now and will more than likely end up in prison. You've got to wonder what those boys are going through, So keep them in your prayers. We do have to wonder if Wendy might not be the next one. I know that she's had partial immunity, but will she be the next one? I don't know. Her family has been very, very careful about protecting her. So I don't know. All right. So my grannyism for today is our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So make sure that we're speaking up, right, guys? If we see something wrong, we need to speak up. Our society has become so polluted with such garbage that it's incredible. Look at this case for an example. If Luis Rivera on the far left had never spoken up, I mean, I don't know what they would have found out. They might have discovered it anyway, but um, look at the trickle down effects. These three have been convicted. Charlie's been convicted. Donna's on trial. Is Wendy going to be? Is her father going to be? We don't know, because it was just a few days after Charlie Adelson was convicted that they arrested Donna at the airport. So, guys, speak up. Speak up when something is going on, because we can't allow this type of warped thinking to exist in our society, right? We just can't. It's wrong on so many levels. But I want to thank you guys for being with me today. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out and subscribe. Hit the bell. Make sure you're getting all the notifications. And we do go live most every night around 5 p.m. Central Time. We would love to have you there. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at grannyscrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.